everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Scoot a little bit farther back. My name is Michele Ainza. I am the director of Embodied Practice, School of Somatics, Yoga, and Dance. Thus, SoYoDa. Again, if you have taken a SoYoDa class, that's ultimately what we are doing. We're synthesizing methodologies of somatics, yoga, and dance, and we're creating a holistic approach to movement, to fitness, and to self-care. We are also a Yoga Alliance RYS, and so that's exciting. I do have an announcement for today. And I'll keep announcing this every day or every week that we meet. I am now officially open for enrollment for our winter-spring 200-hour yoga teacher training program running from January 2nd through May 15th. It's a $2,000 program for all 20 weeks done online due to COVID. All right, let's see. Today's going to be a little bit different. Again, I'm experimenting with how class flows. I received a lot of positive feedback from last week's class using a journal. So one of the things I am requiring for our class today is to bring your journal along. Any kind of journal. It does not have to be fancy, just something to write on and write with. You can also choose to journal on the chat box on your screen down below. We are going to be doing some sharing if you feel comfortable doing so. All right. On top of that, since today is going to be a bit of an experimentation, you might want other items to make you feel comfortable in the space. You can have a yoga mat with you if you want some cushion for the asana section, but I should say that there's going to be a lot of improvisation today in our class. So again, a little bit slightly different. Improv is always in there, it's just I'm adding a lot more to it. Feel free to bring props with you. I'm going to have some yoga blocks today, but if there are other things you like, bring that along. Again, if I offer something that does not feel good in your body in this moment, modify it, change it. Remember that this is a class built for you and it's built for modifications. Heat it up, cool it down, change it, it's okay. This is an online class and it's your space. Speaking of space, you just need to clear the space off a little bit. So we don't have a lot of space right now and that's okay. I'm also shooting my camera in a way that limits the space rather than widening the perspective so that we're all in the same environment, so to speak. Any health conditions that you are concerned about, please contact your healthcare provider before attending class. So this is a donation-based class. Donations are at Venmo or PayPal under my name, Michele Ainza with one L, A-I-N-Z-A, not Embodied Practice. Please pay what you can. This is part of my livelihood. So if you are enjoying my classes, please, that's great. Keep coming back. But all I ask is that we do a donation of some sort, whatever you can pay. 50 cents, $50, it doesn't matter. Are you watching this on IGTV, on YouTube? Pay what you can. So if you enjoy something, let that person know that you support them in some form or another, just as I am attempting to support you, supporting each other during these unique times. Follow me on Instagram at Embodied Practice. Follow me on Facebook at Michele Ainza Movement. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the actual classes that I'm providing you. YouTube has the most diverse videos of classes, so not just 60-minute sessions that I share with you here on Instagram, but also shorter sections, and also my choreography is on there too if you want to check that out. All right, everyone. Hopefully you've gathered all the items that bring you a sense of security and warmth. We are going to start our practice today, mindful SoYoDa. All right. We're going to start lying down on our backs. And again, make sure that you are comfortable and warm. Bring your hoodies, bring your socks, bring your blankets. We're going to be here for a bit. And as I guide you through class today, I will also be demonstrating as much as I can, as well as looking into the camera. So we're lying down on our backs, knees bent so that your low back is supported. You can also choose to draw the knees and the inner thighs together for a little bit more support and rest, or a little bit more activation. Feet are about 3 inches apart, grounding into the earth. Allow the arms to open up towards the sky, and just soften the way down into the earth. Dropping the weight of the body downward, allowing yourself to feel supported from the earth below you. Closing the eyes if that feels comfortable for you, or softening your focus behind the eyes so that we're not taking visual stimulus in right now, or we're decreasing it. We're going to breathe into the back body, pouring the weight into the back. Feeling yourself grounding down. Keep drawing the awareness to your back body. Feel as if the weight is sifting downward as you begin to find that connection to the earth just a little bit more deeply. Again, eyes are closed or softened. And you're staying committed to this place on the ground in a restorative position, grounding into the earth. Hi Hannah, it's nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Good, everybody staying here. Bring your awareness to your breath now. And so we have our foundation underneath us, supporting us. And then we bring our awareness to the breath. We're not forcing anything. We're just being as we are, observing the rhythm of our breath and the sensations that come with that. See if you can keep melting down and softening into the earth a little bit more with each inhale and exhale. Good, everyone. Staying connected here. Begin to slow your breath. Consciously slowing it down, and then begin to steady it, placing an even emphasis on the inhale and the exhale. The nervous system begins to relax automatically as we do that. Allow the head space to clear, and keep going back to the sensation of the earth rising up to match and meet your weight, supporting you, while at the same time being at peace with the breath. Now, with your breath, as it's drawing into your lungs, oxygenating your blood, see if you can soften a little bit more in your joints, the wrists, ankles, shoulders, jaw. See what you can soften a little bit more. Locate that area with your breath and breathe into it so that we're melting, softening, finding a sense of homeostasis from within. We are grounded. We are balanced. For my yogis out there who want to practice Ujjayi pranayama, constricting the back palate of the throat, creating an ocean-like sound, you might want to start that now. It's going to help create internal heat within the body. And we're all still lying down. I'm just still looking at the screen, checking in. Good, everyone. Staying connected to that breath. Steady, slow, balanced breath. Staying connected to the earth, through the back body, through the soles of the feet. We will set an intention today. And our intention is going to be specific of our lesson plan today. Our intention is to let go of habitual patterns that no longer serve us. And I'm going to repeat that. We're going to let go of habitual patterns that do not serve us. That is the intent. Breathe that in. Fill your body up with that intention and then exhale it out of the mouth. Sigh it out. We're releasing it to manifest it. Let's do that again. Inhale through the nose. Letting go of habitual patterns that do not serve us. Exhale it out. Good. One more just like that as we connect together as a group. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice. Good. Start to open up the eyes if they were closed. If you just softened your focus, open them up completely. Start to bring the space in around you. And so that we're getting a little bit more information, not just inner sensations through our breath or textural sensations by what we're touching. I want you to start to visually see the space around you, peripheral vision. Sense what's around you, even underneath you. And so we're using all senses to be present where we are so that as we make choices today, breaking patterns that no longer serve us and exploring new patterns that might serve us, and that's the attempt today, we are aware. We make choices. All right, so let's begin a very subtle heel rock, and this is a modified heel rock because our knees are bent. We ground down into the earth and we gauge the inner thighs, allowing the rock to jostle the body, moving it around, the contents in the torso, the organs, the blood, everything's just moving. That rock is going to completely go up through the crown of the head. The back of the neck is relaxed. If you have socks on like myself, because it's a little chilly here in Portland, Oregon, make sure that you're really grounding down. Typically you want to do this without socks on so that you have a firm grasp to the earth. Good. And then extend your legs here for a moment and then draw them back in so that we can think about the heels and the sits bones engaging, coming back together. And as you do this, see how the belly button draws in a little bit to support that low back. So this is inner thigh and core work, very subtle. And we're doing this to feel a sense of stability and strength from our center as we explore larger movements later. You should even feel your hamstrings begin to engage here. Eventually we'll meet with the legs lengthened down. We ground our heels and we find a true heel rock with the legs extended. Let it go. Good. Keep feeling inner sensations and external sensations. The body rubbing up against the floor, the texture of the fabric on your skin, the air, I should say, around you. And then release that out as you begin to grow and expand into a big X. As I typically do in my class, we're moving through the patterns of total body connectivity. And so this is Bartenian fundamentals. And we're moving through these patterns because they are developmental patterns that sometimes as adults we start to lose some of them. And even though some of those habitual patterns that we might want to release in our life that no longer serve us, they can be physically manifested in ourselves. And so what we're going to do is we're going to explore all 6 patterns today in a unique format and see which ones we tend to go to so that we can actually physically manifest that change from within. All right, let's give this a shot. So we're in a big X. You have your slow, steady, balanced breath supporting you. Sigh it out, make sounds, let go. Feel yourself exist in space. Take a big inhale, reach out through all distal edges, and then exhale, just draw into your center. And you can allow your head to rise up or bring some support if that feels okay. Inhale, reach out. Good, exhale. So what we're doing is core distal. So we're drawing the distal edges into the core, and then we're gonna reach and grow out. And you can do this, exhale, folding over to one side, bringing the energy into your home, essentially, and then reaching it right back out into your environment. Exhale. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Now this is where improv is going to come in. A little bit of improvisation. Exhale. Core distal. How can you draw your energy back to your center? Inhale and then reach out fully. What does that mean to you as you remain supported from your center? Good. So I'm not going to dictate where you're headed. I'm just going to guide you. I'm your guide today, moving you through a holistic process of the patterns of total body connectivity. What serves you? Does sitting up to a different level, does that feel better? Would you prefer to be up here? That's all right. As we begin to explore from a low level up to a mid level, and then allow it to come back down. So we're connecting movement to breath. If we were in a yoga class, a vinyasa class, that is also part of what a vinyasa means, connecting movement to breath. But you can do this through dance. In fact, dancers are doing it subconsciously all the time until we actually bring the awareness of, oh, how am I doing this? What am I doing? And we're all dancers. We're all movers in space. We all communicate through gesture. And so what we're doing is we're learning how to communicate with our gestures that serve us. Good. Taking a couple more breaths here through this exploratory improvisation of core distal pattern. Your breath is supporting you and initiating the movement as you begin to grow and expand. Good. All right, take a moment to just settle yourself and make your way to your journal. Again, it can be anything. You could be using your phone and texting on in notes. You can just use the keypad in the chat box at the bottom of your screen. It's up to you. And so the first question that I have for our mindful SoYoDa class is, as you explored the intention of letting go of a habitual pattern that is not serving you, and you could also do that in plural patterns. I'm going to just put a singular on that because one is enough for me right now. When we explore that through, as an intention, through the patterns of total body connectivity, breath, and core distal, what came up? What came up? What would you like to let go of? What is holding you back from living your full, authentic life? Or how shall I say this? What is holding you back from being your full, authentic self? And so jot that down. And what we're doing is we're going to try to break, let go, release that pattern that might be holding us back physically as well. We're doing it from the inside so that eventually we can externalize it and do it for real in our lives. So it starts from our home base. All right, so jot down your note. Feel free to share it or not. I usually take a part of my class before I teach in the morning. I definitely do the lesson plan the day before, but I like to do it in the morning. And I noticed that my intention had shifted from just an hour ago to now, and that's okay, you will notice that. That's the beauty of being present. And so if you feel comfortable to share, go right ahead, and if you don't, that's fine. I want us to keep moving. I'm going to go ahead and share what happened. So, although this is, whoop, that's not what I meant to do. Let's see if I can do this again. There. I've noticed that my responses are kind of ambiguous and broad. But what popped up for me is that I'm trying to let go of negative thought patterns. Negative thought patterns are what I believe are holding me back sometimes, whether it's living my fullest, most authentic life, or being my most fullest, authentic person, and how that shifts dynamically every single day. Take that in. If you want to share, great. If not, that's okay. And let's begin to, once we have informed as to what is it that I want to break, what am I trying to shift around here a little bit, what can I let go of, we're going to start to explore more movement. Now I'm definitely going to recommend taking your socks off now at this point, because we're going to need the feet to ground down so that we don't slip. We're going to explore postures, yoga postures, so some asanas. We're going to first start with breath. Once again, always going back to the breath, and then we're going to amplify. So meet me in cat-cow. Hands are spreading wide, fingers spreading them as wide as you can, rotating the arms in the socket so the insides of the elbows face forward, hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and start to move through cat-cow tilts, connected to your breath. Again, yogis, ujjayi, pranayama can be engaged right now. And again, I will sometimes step out of the movement to observe and talk to you a little bit more clearly so that you can hear me. And so what we're doing here is we're taking the opposite ends of the spine here through the crown of the head and down through the tailbone. And what we're going to do is we're going to take them up into cow pose with our inhale, and then move them down together into cat. Your navel will draw in, supporting the low back. Breathe in between the shoulder blades. Inhale. Exhale. So how can you bring those opposite ends together and then reach them to the opposite ends of the room and then draw them up, once again coming a little bit closer together so that they're creating these curves. Your spine is creating curves as we move. Now, if you like variations, circles, undulations, great. All I ask is that you are mindful as you move through this and think about the head and the tailbone being connected. Because what we're doing is we're changing into head-tail pattern. And so I'm doing this through a yoga posture, asana, as we begin to find spinal mobility. And so we're breathing in between all the vertebral vertebrae so that we're getting in towards, we're not breathing necessarily into the vertebral discs, but we're opening, amplifying movement so that we're unlocking sticky spots. We have 24 vertebrae, cervical, thoracic, lumbar curve. They all move in their unique way. So what you're doing is you're just allowing that motion to be there. Allow it to grow. As you saw, I see right now, I'm actually allowing this motion to grow quite a bit from what I was doing before. So we're going to start to amplify it, and feel free to tuck your toes. And this is why I asked you to take your socks off. Start to press so that we use a yield and push pattern to shift from the lower body into the upper body. Lower body, pelvis and below. Upper body, pelvis and above. So waist and up. And then don't lose that connection to your tailbone and your head. What are they doing? All the while, you're still connected to the two patterns that were before that, core distal and breath. So as we grow with each pattern, complexity starts to come in because there's a layering effect that occurs. And all of that is just to support the movement that we're doing, yet at the same time, unlocking areas that hold on to tension. Meet me in a child's pose here for a moment. Stretch the arms forward and get as much length through the body as you can. Soften through the front of the hips, so this is creasing forward. We're breathing into the sides of the waist as those arms reach forward. As your arms reach forward, and drop your shoulders. Good, breathing into the upper back. Allow the forehead to melt down in a way that's comfortable. And go back to your intention. What do you want to let go of? What's not serving you? And how can you create space to bring something that does serve you? So we're letting go of patterns that we no longer need, and so that we can open up the door for something that will serve us for the greater good, essentially. And so as we breathe here in child's pose, notice your breath. Keep it balanced. It might start to get faster because our heart rate lifts up, but still try to balance it out. So oftentimes, whatever we're trying to let go of, that pattern that does not serve us, that can get locked in our physical being, our tissue, our organs. And what we're doing is we're working it out through this very subtle asana motion. So let's rise back up into our tabletop and continue to amplify this. So, yoga, somatics, doing both. Start to create a little bit more heat as you find a little bit more spinal mobility. Now your knees don't need to be lifted. You can keep them down on the ground if that feels more supported to you. You can also start to choose to open up the heart center into cobra, upward facing dog. You can also choose to begin to move this into a downward facing dog. But what we are doing is we're yielding and pushing into the lower body and into the upper body through what is known as the sagittal plane. So this is your sagittal plane, forward and backward. As human beings, we are bipeds. We typically move forward and backward. This is how we advance forward and we retreat back. And so what we're doing here is we're amplifying that. If you want to add a little bit more, feel free to explore one arm. Again, your call. This is an improv exploration through asana. If you're feeling that this is comfortable for you and you're not going to fall over, great. And if that's not working, you might even want to go into side planks with the knee down. Good. And so I'm showing you by looking into the camera, so I'm not turning my back away from you too much. Let's see what's going on. Good. Keep finding that. We're going to meet in downward facing dog. So the heart rate should have lifted and you should feel a little bit more internal heat, staying connected to the breath. Grounding down here, go back to your intention. Letting go of what no longer is serving you, creating space for what will serve you. Good. So as automatically I started to walk my feet out, treading my feet. If that serves you, do that. If it doesn't serve you, take a note. Am I doing this? Why am I doing it? Does it feel good or is it working against me? Do I have wrist pain? Does it put too much weight into my hands and I'd prefer to just take the weight back? Then find your stability. See what you're doing and see if it works for you. This is not a judgment. Does this serve me in the moment? And if not, let it go. That's it. We don't have to attach too much to it. All right, we're going to start to move through lunges, still moving forward and backward through our sagittal plane. Choose if you want to lift a leg up. That's your call with an inhale, and exhale, draw the knee forward. You don't have to do that through a downward facing dog. You can choose also to do this through tabletop, whatever feels best for your joints. In this runner's lunge, you want the knee over the ankle and the opening through the opposite hip flexor. You could also choose to do this with that back knee down, lifting up, arms high. You can also begin to extend through the front leg to get into the back of the leg as well. Once again, I'm providing a space to explore these poses through an improv. So keep moving through it in a way that serves you. Move with intention with the breath. Consider how your head and your tailbone are still connected, and how you're doing this by reaching with the breath from your core out to your distal edges and then back in. Good. When you're ready to switch legs, do so by just retrograding, reversing backwards essentially, like you just hit rewind on a tape player. Exhale, draw it in, and yes, I'm that old. I did have VHS tape players and musical tapes. That's what I grew up with. Breathing, everyone. Enjoy it in a way that serves you. Sound it out. Ground into the earth. So wherever you can ground. Feel your support. Use the knowledge of somatics and yoga right now to support you. And we're connecting all of this together, making it into a dance as we improvise, finding our internal expression, manifesting it externally. Good. Shifting out of that when you're ready. Good. Begin to move a little bit more here. And this is going to be interesting. You do as much as you can. Start to play around with lunging forward in different ways and then coming back. So we're just stepping forward. I'm going into a variation of lizard lunge. Do what serves you. If your wrists or hands are getting sore, stay down. Maybe come to your forearms and play around with a different part of the body doing this. It's your choice. Then what we're going to do is continue to ground down and shift different body parts around so that we're still using our hands and our feet, almost like we're breakdancing a little bit. Reaching out. Now I'm expanding and reaching. This is part of core distal. And then I'm going to come back to my center. And then how is my head, tail motion moving with me to fulfill that? And again, if this is too much, come to your knees. You could always do this on the ground. Any way that serves you. This is a improvisation of poses that we have learned in class. Nice, everyone. Making your way when you're ready, back into a child's pose for a moment of reprieve, stretching the arms out, the torso, lengthen long through the spine, and just rest. We're creatively moving the body. We're using methodologies, somatics, and yoga and dance as our backbone to explore. And it's not just about physical training or fitness. This is about letting go right now. That's our intention of what's not serving us, so that we're creating a space, an opening for something that will. And so this is also an emotional outlet. Oftentimes when I've taught class before or I've taken class, it feels exhilarating and joyful because I'm moving the body and I'm connected to my physicality and to expression. But there is just this one thing that I can't put my finger on. It's like, well, I'm missing something. What's not there? And that's the attempt in these classes, is to find that missing link so that we can use this as a form of healing as well, so that we can grow as individuals. All right. Once you have found your breath through child's pose, go back to your journal. Take a moment and just explore or write down your exploration process. What was that like to move the body through the patterns of total body connectivity of breath, core distal, head, tail, and we're also using upper body, lower body And so that was the fourth pattern. That was our yield and push, moving through our sagittal plane. Where did you feel most alive and most creative, most yourself in that moment? And again, I'll say that again. Journal entry number 2. In that exploration that we just did, what made you feel most alive? What excited you, engaged you most? Where were you? What were you doing? And you might even want to pinpoint the actual pattern we were doing. Were we in head tail? Were you focusing on head tail? Were we in upper body, lower body? Were we in core distal? Was it just the breath? Write it down. And then we'll move on. Feel free to share in the chat box if you don't want to. There's no forcing anything. Do what you've got to do. I felt most alive in my head tail, I'm writing down the wrong pattern. Upper lower pattern as I began to mobilize. So I felt most engaged and alive when I was able to amplify this yield and push pattern going forward and backward, engaging all the patterns that were before. So that's where I really started to feel alive, is when I could connect it all together. All right, making your way into a standing position any way you want to. Grab some water. I recommend having blocks, yoga blocks nearby. We're going to do some strength and stability exercises through asana. All right, so first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a moment to find Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. The back leg, and it doesn't matter what side you're on, we're going to do both, is rotated just slightly inward, and then we're drawing up. Think about lifting the kneecaps upwards so that the hip flexors keep lifting, tailbone is dropping. Your knee is not going to go past that front ankle of yours here. Everything's just going to shoot forward in that direction, and the arms extend out. Focus is going with you. Warrior 2, strong warriors here. Nice, everyone, keep breathing. So while we're doing these strengthening stability asanas, yoga postures, I want you to think about warrior strength. Consider that positive aspect of yourself that you want to amplify, where you feel your strength, where you feel most stable. Where does that come from? What's an image that pops up as you do it? Breathe it in. Maybe there's a color. And as we exhale, share it. Good, we're still here. We're grounding and we're engaging and lifting. From all that mobility that we're doing before, this is the opposite spectrum. We're going to go into stability and strength. Good, we're going to just reach up and back. And you're going to find an opening here to the side of the torso. This is reverse warrior. Meet me back into warrior. 2. Good. Now, lengthen your front leg, parallel that leg, and then rotate the opposite leg out. Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2, second side, staying here. Again, I'm going to be guiding and talking, but sometimes I'm going to step away and see what's going on. Hey Marcy, it's nice to see you, yay. Okay. We ground, we find our strength. We draw in and we manifest. Again, going back to the idea of once we have let go of that negative pattern that isn't serving us, or just a pattern that isn't serving us, you don't have to put a judgment of good or bad into that at all. Think about what you can now amplify. What can you gather? You've just created some space because we let that pattern go, what no longer serves us, and we're creating space to bring in what does. Strength right now is popping in my head. That's because probably I'm in a warrior pose and I manifest strength when I'm here. Stability, a sense of stability, grounding down to the feet. There might be a sense of confidence that comes with it. Think about that. A texture, a color, a thought, a memory, an image. What is serving you? And then stay with it. Keep that steady breath and then reverse your warrior here. Keep bending through the front knee. We're still engaging a lot of work down here as we open up. So as we ground down, we're actually going to stretch here on the lateral side of the torso. Side stretch. Meet me back in warrior two. Parallel through that leg. Back to warrior two, second side. Good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move into extended side angle. Elbow onto thigh. I'm going to use a block. Now that side body keeps opening up your side body. Drop the shoulders down. Reach the fingertips in the opposite direction. Good. Go back to your breaths. Slow, steady breaths. Think about the head and the tailbone reaching in opposite directions. All those patterns of total body connectivity are serving you. Think about how you're connected to your breath. Good, we're gonna rise right back up. Switch sides. Mindfully just rotating in and out. So we're working those hip sockets, our hip sockets. Extended side angle. Find the support that you require and then go to it. Whatever serves you, we're staying here. We're gonna breathe. Explore the sensations from within with the breath. Manifest that positive energy that's gonna serve you today. Bring it in. We've already let go of the pattern that we don't need. Now we've opened space for one that serves us. Good. Go back to your first side. Untitled Trikonasana, triangle pose. Hips are squared, legs are lengthened. Reach forward. Again, great place for a block. Stacking the arms. Once again, we find the strength by grounding down and then lifting up and growing from there. Expand wide through your sternum. Focus can go up, forward, or down, what feels best for your neck. What we're trying to do here is to find stability and strength. So that first portion of class was about mobility, connecting it to the breath. Good. And then the second part is stability, strength, connecting it to the breath. Good. Rise up. Strong legs. We engage the torso and we just switch sides. Move the block out of the way. So I'm just pivoting on my heels. Good. Find the shape of extended triangle pose, the one that serves you. It's great to have props around that allows you to amplify the pose that serves you best. You're manifesting the pose that works for you, not trying to make a shape that somebody else makes, or that you see in a book, or that you see your teacher doing, or the person next to you if you were in a classroom. You're manifesting from within based off of the choice that you're making for yourself, not based off an expectation of what you think the shape should look like. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot, it's very wordy. Breathe into it. Yes. Press and rise. Whoa. Don't do what I'm doing. All right, I lost my block. Good. We're gonna switch sides. All right, everyone, this is gonna take it to a little bit of a balance challenge. We're moving into half moon pose, Artachandrasana. So we're gonna go back to warrior two. I'm gonna use a block. I'm just trying to shift back a little bit so I don't leave the camera, the shot. So if you're here, you're just gonna transfer forward, just like you would if you were to lean sideways into Untitled Trikonasana. Place your hand onto a block. The block should be on the pinky toe side of your foot. And then you start to whoop. Lift the leg, floating it up. Manifest it. Feel your breath. Press through the foot that is lifted. Picture it standing on the wall behind you so that you have an image of balance. Continue to open wide through your sternum. You can float this without a block too, for sure. I like to feel the support of the block underneath first. And once I feel solid, then maybe float. You could also bend the knee and start to reach for that foot to open up, making this into a back bend or heart opener. My body's saying no. I'm going to listen to it. One more round of breath here. Press the air out, carefully step back into warrior two. Switch sides. You choose your variation. This is your class. I'm just adjusting the blocks, starting firmly grounded in warrior two. Lateral shift here, just slightly, and then start to transfer. So I'm losing the shot. I'm just going to move a little bit. We are fully engaged here. Even that foot that's lifted is pressing into something. So there are areas of the body that do need to be engaged, and there are areas of the body that would be working against you if they were, like maybe your jaw locking it. Right? Let's see if we can let go of unnecessary holding patterns. This is going back to our original intention. And then take that energy and maybe place it somewhere that it would serve you better. We're not going to put too much, or any judgment, I should say too much. That goes back to my intention was to let go of negative thought patterns. Don't put a judgment to it. It's not good or bad. It's what's serving you right now and not serving you. Let it go. One more round of breath. At the tail of that exhale, you have full engagement of the core because naturally your belly draws in and then you carefully step up. Good. Let's just come to a wide-legged position. Start to tread your feet. That's so funny. I create a lesson plan that I'm always like, that's not enough. Oh, no, it's okay. Simplify it. And it can be challenging online to complete it. So I'm talking to you. So we're treading the feet, toe ball heel. Shifting the weight, and now just allow there to be a little bit more flow. Now you can take this anywhere you want. Press your heart, your belly, your pelvis forward, but think about how, as it falls over, your head and your tailbone are connected. So we're going back to those patterns that we did before. Now, think about elbow coming into the waist. You can also do this and turn out. Or parallel, you can switch. Nice, everyone. Bring that back in. Okay. Swing the arm back, circle it. Transfer your weight, circle it. A little body half motion. We're gonna do a step and transfer the weight to one side, then step and transfer the weight over here, moving through your midline, and we go. Good, we're swimming backwards, opening up the heart. Then we're gonna reach up. It's gonna look like this. Reach up, reach up, reach up, reach up. Reach forward. Good, grasp what it is you want and bring it into you. And down and up, draw it in. Manifest it, bring it into you. Crisscross, crossing the midline. Essentially going into cross lateral, which we'll explore a little bit more in a second. Down and up. Take what it is you want, put it into the system. Good, and just shift. All right, everyone. Walk it out, grab some water. We are gonna go into a movement phrase that you can modify as much as you want. It's engaging cross-lateral pattern, which is your sixth pattern of total body connectivity. So we went into body half just a little bit. I didn't touch upon it too much today. It was more about trying to get you to cross lateral, which, by the way, is your natural walking pattern. So as bipeds, this is what we're working towards, from infantry to becoming somebody who can walk in our life, moving forward, locomoting any way you want, and comes from this cross lateral pattern. So we're going to integrate. It's the most complex pattern. We're going to integrate all the patterns from before and create our full authentic cross-lateral patterns starting now. We're going into, okay, how did I do this? This is similar to what we were just doing. You're going to reach down on one side and then up on the other side, okay? So it's down and up, opposite corner. Now, mid-level here, pulling it in, good. So we're staying on the same side. Then you're gonna reach, so it's dun, ch, and dun, ch, dun, bump, ch, dun, bump. Then you're going up and down, and then you have a up, up, down, second side. Down, opposite corner. Mid-level, tabletop, right here. Good. Go up, go down, ba, ba, ba. Pas de bourrée, triplet, however you want to look at it. You can also turn that if you wanted. Okay, let's add that. Ready, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. Up, up, down, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up, up, down. We're going to do that again, but with a turn now. Ready? And 1, 2. Take the focus with you. See where you're going. Turn it around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn it around. How are we doing, everyone? So this, there's a more complex phrase to that, but because I'm running out of time, we're just going to do that one again. Let's do it. 5, 6, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Transition any way you want. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's up to you. Again, change your facing. That makes it confusing. If you want to make it more complex, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's okay. Good. Go for another walk. So, crossing your midline, integrating right to left. Whole picture there. Good. Yay! It's nice to see all of you. Thank you for joining. So we're going to be coming to the end of our class today. Grab the things that you want that make you warm, keep you warm. As I leave the screen. Hoodie, socks, whatever you need. Blankets. We're coming to the end. And this was part of our class today was Mindful SoYoDa, and that's kind of where I'm taking the theme now so that we are problem solving together, becoming better people, whatever that means. You're better people meaning your most full authentic self. That's what's most important. How are you living your authentic life? And so what I want us to get from this is not just the joy of movement, which is totally there, or an increased heart rate, or sweat, or fitness for that matter. What I want you to do is feel comfortable in your own skin. And so that when we're exploring our lives out there, we have our support. We're here. So that then maybe we can reach out and help somebody, lending hand to somebody who might need that. This is how we can, as a community, support each other. But we first have to do it for ourselves. It's internal. And then we can, embrace everybody else. All right, so now that I went off on a tangent, and why it is I love to do what it is we're doing, we're going to find a restorative position back down. So I want you to go back to your journal and consider how you felt in the beginning of class when we're lying on our backs, focusing on our breath. And I want you to think about how you feel now. What was that transition like for you? Where did we locomote to? Feel free to share that on the chat box on the screen below. Or you can hold it to yourself. That's all that matters is that this is for you. Okay. Thank you, Sam. Yes. Knock the water bottle over. I do that all the time. All right, so this is how I feel. I feel super energized now. I feel like I could take on the day. And that's how you want to feel. You want to feel great. And it's not feeling depleted. It's like, oh yeah, now I'm my full self. This is what I needed to do. I needed to restructure the cells in my body, you know, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever that is for you, so that we can be present. Feel free to share whatever you got from class today or not. Again, you can hold that to yourself. I'm going to bring us to the final end of class where we're going to go back down to a supine position, lying down. Any kind of support that you require, blankets, blocks, pillows, gather it. Since I had blocks today for the asana portion, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to do a supported heart opener to work on my breath and then to open up my heart more, which I feel like I could always work on. So you want to rest your spine from your shoulder blades, so your scapulas end up. So right in between those shoulder blades is your spine. And you're going to find that sweet spot, and it can take a second, a little bit of adjustment. Woo! The block might slide away from underneath you. And then the other block is now at this most highest level, and you're resting your head on it. So your spine is resting on a block at its most narrow edge, mid-level. And then you have the second block on its highest level. And then from there, grow. Inhale from your center. Just imagine that you are your breath. Expand out. And then exhale. Soften the elbows. Open up your pectoralis muscles. Great stretch. I've got so many knots in my shoulder blades that I can just lower my arms down and I can just do it, kind of just massage it out in between. In fact, if that feels good, do it again. This is all about you. So if you bring your arms overhead and you start to bend at the elbows, floating the arms over the ground, you might start to feel the edges of the block getting into those knots right in between the shoulder blades. Oh, it's such a wonderful feeling. Okay, and then eventually just allow the arms lower down. Palms are up for receiving positive energy, receiving support. We have already released the pattern or patterns that no longer serve us so that we can open ourselves up to receive what will serve us and what does serve us. Close the eyes, relax the muscles in the jaw. Separate the lips slightly so that the tongue floats in the center of the mouth. And go back to the breath. Just like in the beginning of class, we slow down the breath and we balance it. Staying here, and you're going to finish class on your backs, nice and comfortable. Breathing in and out. This class is every Wednesday on Embodied Practice, Instagram, live. And then I save it to IGTV, and I usually put it from there, if it downloaded properly, onto YouTube. Please follow me on Embodied Practice Instagram. Subscribe and like my YouTube channel, Michele Ainza. 200-hour yoga teacher training programs coming up for winter spring 2021. It's online, folks, so if you live on the West Coast, Pacific Standard Time, you can take it anywhere. Thank you so much. It's really a joy to see all of you amazing people, a lot of my former students, Kay, Marcy, Hannah, my partner Sam, thank you for popping on in. I seriously care about all of you so deeply, so thank you, I really appreciate it. Spread the word, tell everybody. Donation-based class, pay what you can. Peace out, my friends. Namaste.